Hello my friends! Today in this video we are looking at 5 mistakes that cause riders to crash really hard. More importantly, we are going to learn how to avoid them. In case you are new to this channel, my name is Andrei Bodrov. I am your new favorite motorcycle instructor here on YouTube, and also I create online courses for riders looking to improve their skills and handle a bike with greater confidence and safety. Our King of the Road course, for example, features over 40 exercises designed to make you a safer, more confident rider in just 9 weeks. Click the link below to check out our courses and become a better rider. The first and most obvious mistake that comes to mind is, of course, speeding. This is understandable. Motorcycles are generally more dynamic and faster than any other type of vehicle on the road. At times, it is really hard to resist going a bit faster than the rest of the traffic, but that's not always the best decision, and here is why. Despite the fact that almost any motorcycle accelerates much faster than the average car, it stops more or less at the same rate. Even if our bike has really grippy tires and excellent modern brakes, it will probably brake about 10% better than an ordinary road car. And that's only if actually know how to brake really fast. Otherwise, it will most likely slow down even worse than a car. When we brake from higher speeds, our braking distance doesn't increase linearly. If we try to stop from, let's say, 25 miles per hour, then double that speed to 50 miles per hour, our braking distance won't just double, it will increase almost 4 times. For a quick rule of thumb, we should know that at typical road speeds, our braking distance roughly doubles each time we increase our speed by 20 kilometers or 12 miles per hour. Now let's imagine a hypothetical situation. We are riding down the road, traffic is flowing at, let's say, 35 miles per hour, and we are going just 12 miles per hour faster than the cars around us. Suddenly, for whatever reason, everyone slams on their brakes. By the time they come to a complete stop, we'll still be moving at 30 miles per hour. That might seem counterintuitive, but that's how kinetic energy works, and there is nothing we can do to change that. If we are speeding, our braking distance increases rapidly. If something unexpected happens, a car runs a red light, a dog runs into the road, or some driver suddenly turns in front of us, our chances of stopping in time decrease drastically. It is as simple as that. No amount of riding skill or electronic braking aids can fully compensate for excessive speed. That's why on this channel and in our courses we spend a lot of time practicing braking. It is not just about building muscle memory to brake faster and avoid mistakes. Gaining real experience with high-speed braking is the only way to truly understand how quickly we can stop in an emergency and what speed is appropriate for different road situations. We need to choose a speed that allows us to slow down and stop in time, not just ride as fast as the throttle allows. Next important topic we will discuss today is how we handle intersections. Judging by different statistical data sources, from 28% to 40% of all accidents with motorbikes happen on intersections. So they are most definitely a huge safety factor for us. The most common crash scenario at an intersection is when a car turns left in front of a motorcycle. If you open any crash compilation here on YouTube, I can pretty much guarantee you will see at least few of those crashes. There are several ways to drastically reduce your chances to crash on an intersection. Some of them are more dependent on other drivers, and some are dependent entirely on you. First of all, since in a lot of cases a driver at fault will say something along the lines of "The biker came out of nowhere, I never see him coming," it would be logical to try to increase the visibility of the rider. A bright-colored helmet and jacket could do the trick, and additional lights on the bike wouldn't hurt either. This way we can increase the chances of the driver noticing us, but ultimately we still rely on the driver. And given the fact they regularly fail to notice bright yellow ambulances and giant red fire engines with sirens and flashing lights, Well, you can write a Goldwing Christmas Tree Special Edition and they still won't see you. Of course, it is pretty difficult to see an oncoming vehicle when you are looking down at the phone. So, aside of trying to become more visible, we can do a couple more things, which will put us in control of the situation, so we can rely less on the drivers around us. First, we have to learn to approach each intersection with anticipation. We have to be proactive and react to an intersection as a possible hazard, instead of trying to react when a particular car already becomes a clear threat. That means, when we are approaching an intersection, especially if we see a car which might possibly turn in front of us, we should not speed up to pass it faster. Quite the opposite. We should roll off the throttle and prepare to brake really hard. Or we even can start braking very gently in advance. This will put us in a much better situation in case the car decides to pull out. We will be ready to brake and will be able to brake really hard, so we will either avoid the accident completely or at least have much less consequences. The second important thing about dealing with intersections is that we have to be able to perform brake and swerve maneuver flawlessly in case the car tries to turn in front of us. I made a whole separate video about it a while ago, describing how exactly we should perform it and why it is the best course of action. Watch that video if you haven't yet, it's incredibly important. This maneuver is so important that in our King of the Road advanced course we spent the whole week practicing this exercise to the point when the students make it perfectly. Braking and swerving is really one of the most important skills for any street rider, so be sure to learn it incredibly well. You will most certainly need it one day. Another common mistake which leads to abundance of totaled bikes on the market is following too closely behind the car in front. This creates several problems. For starters, riding too close means we can't see past the vehicle ahead, leaving us unaware of what's happening further down the road, especially if it's a tall vehicle like an SUV or a van. If the cars in front suddenly start braking, we won't notice until the car directly ahead starts to slow down. And if it brakes hard, we might not have enough time to react, putting us at a serious risk of slamming into its rear fender. Another issue is that following too closely gives us no time to react to potholes or road debris that have a habit of suddenly emerging from under the car in front. A car might go right over a massive pothole in the center of the road, leaving us no time to avoid it. Instead, the safer approach is to drop back a little, maintain a 2 or 3 second gap, and shift slightly towards the side of the lane. This way, we'll have a clearer view of the road ahead and more time to react. A 2 to 3 second following distance is generally considered safe, giving riders enough time to adjust to changing traffic conditions. However, in certain situations such as rain, nighttime riding or reduced visibility, it is best to increase the distance to 4 or 5 seconds or even more, depending on the road conditions. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Ultramax Cell, the brand behind the high-tech base layers you've probably seen me wearing in my videos while riding a bike. I don't recommend them just because they sponsor me. I genuinely believe they are one of the best choices for motorcycle riders. What makes Ultramax Cell stand out is their cutting-edge material, a special polypropylene fiber with a 3-dimensional structure. This design creates a compression effect, ensuring a perfect fit while optimizing performance across your entire body. And the real game changer is their 3D honeycomb structure, which increases the fabric's surface area, allowing it to wick moisture away from your skin and evaporate it rapidly. In hot weather, when worn under ventilated riding gear, this boosts evaporative cooling, keeping you cool and dry. In cold conditions, the honeycomb design traps warm air around your body, providing superior insulation compared to standard thermal gear. I've tried plenty of different base layers over the years, and Ultramax Cell is a serious upgrade. I can highly recommend it. I'll drop an Amazon link in the video description, along with their direct contact info. Depending on your location, you might get a better deal by reaching out to them directly. Now, let's get back to the video. Since we've already talked about how we follow other vehicles on the road, let's discuss another common mistake that's closely related. Too many riders tend to fixate their vision on the car directly in front of them, ignoring everything else happening on the road. And that's understandable. After all, it's the closest vehicle, making it seem like the most immediate threat. But while it's the most obvious potential hazard, it is far from the only one. The road is full of them at any given moment, so instead of focusing solely on the car ahead, we need to use our vision wisely and stay aware of the entire road situation. To scan a wide area ahead effectively, I like to use a technique I call fisherman vision. Think of your gaze like a fishing lane. Every few seconds you cast it far down the road, about 12 seconds ahead, and then pull it back with a scanning-like motion. Don't fixate on anything specific, just take in as much information as possible. You'll still keep the car in front in your peripheral vision, occasionally giving it a quick extra glance as you scan the road ahead. This way, you will remain fully aware of it without focusing on it 100% of the time. This technique gives you much more time to react if something potentially dangerous appears, like a car about to pull out or pedestrian stepping off the curb. If you simply wait for the car in front to react first, you'll always be a step behind. Riders who fixate exclusively on the vehicle ahead leave themselves almost no time to respond to unexpected situations. Proof of this can be seen in countless crash videos where one rider goes down for some reason and the riders behind, mindlessly following like sheep, crash right into them. Fixating on the bike in front makes a rider blind to what's happening further ahead, leaving them with no information on how to proceed safely. So yes, constantly scanning the entire road and maintaining awareness of the bigger picture is the right approach. At first, this might sound like a lot to handle, but once you get used to it, it becomes second nature. Your brain will take over and you won't even have to think twice about it. The result will be a much safer and more enjoyable ride. You'll no longer have those oh shit moments when a car suddenly pulls out in front of you and you only notice it a second before impact. Instead, you'll see 90% of those situations several seconds in advance, giving you plenty of time to react. Staring mindlessly at the fender of the car ahead is not a wise decision. To ride safely, we need to maintain a much wider field of view and rely more on our peripheral vision. That's exactly why we spend so much time on this channel practicing with the cones. All those circles and figures of eights are not just for fun. These exercises significantly improve our peripheral vision, making us better and safer riders. Not following cars too closely is important, but we also need to be aware of blind zones. These are areas around the car that the driver cannot see directly, either through the windows or mirrors. Blind zones exist in every car due to its design, with pillars, headrests and parts of the bodywork blocking the driver's view. For motorcycle riders, understanding and avoiding these blind spots is crucial for safety. When we are riding in a car's blind zone, we are practically invisible to the driver, which significantly increases the risk of collision, especially if the car changes lanes or turns. To stay safe, we should position ourselves where we can be easily seen by the driver. In most cases, it's safer to ride ahead of a car or behind it, rather than alongside. This becomes even more important when dealing with large vehicles like buses or trucks, as they have massive blind zones. A simple rule to remember: if we can't see the driver or their mirrors, we can be certain that they can't see us either. In these situations, we need to adjust our position on the road and speed to compensate for the risk of the vehicle suddenly moving into our path. The same logic applies when we're stopping behind a vehicle, especially behind vans or trucks. If we stop too close, the driver may not even know we are there, and they could reverse into us. Sure, technically they'd be at fault, but who cares about technically? We're much more interested in not breaking our limbs and keeping our bike away from a junkyard. So, if you manage to avoid these 5 common mistakes, you'll become a more proficient and safer rider. You won't be completely invincible, of course, but you'll be a whole lot closer to it. If you found this video useful, Help to spread it by hitting that like button and maybe even share it with a friend who could use these tips. And of course, subscribe for more riding advice and techniques that will keep you safe on the road. Also, be sure to check out our riding courses. They'll take your skills to the next level. In just a few months, you won't even recognize yourself on the bike. As always, thank you for watching, ride safe and have a fantastic day. Bye!